Working as a paramedic, you get used to seeing awful things, but every now and then something happens that sticks with you. Not because it was the worst thing you've seen, but because of how it happened. It was around 10 p.m. when we got dispatched to what came out over the radio as a simple assault in one of the rougher parts of the city. Routine enough. My partner and I rolled up expecting another drunk fight. Maybe a busted lip or a knife nick. Nothing we hadn't handled 100 times before. When we arrived, there was a man standing behind a row of parallel parked cars in front of his house, yelling in this high, broken, almost childlike voice. The cops were already there trying to calm him down. From where we stood, it looked like he might have been the victim. We got the gurney off the rig and started maneuvering it between the cars. But the second we came around the front of a blue Mini Cooper, everything shifted. Leaning against the car's bumper, half slouched into the gutter, was a man. A dead man. I'll never forget the way it hit me. That split second when your brain tries to make sense of what you're seeing. For a moment, I thought he was alive. His eyes were open, fixed right on me. Then in a heartbeat, I realized he wasn't looking at me and he was looking through me. And then came the realization, he was gone. He was shirtless, his skin pale under the streetlight, and his torso looked like something out of a nightmare. He hadn't just been stabbed, he'd been butchered. Deep, savage wounds tore through his chest and abdomen. I'd seen plenty of stabbings before, but those were usually clean punctures. This wasn't that. This was rage made visible. The cops were shouting, trying to get statements. The man behind the car still screaming in that cracked voice, and all I could do was stare at the body. The way the streetlight flickered over him, and the silence that seemed to settle in after the noise. It was supposed to be a simple assault. It was anything but. I was born and raised in North Dakota. Back in high school, my friends and I had this weird little hobby, and we'd research old murders that had happened out in the county. Then on weekends, we'd pile into someone's car with a few cases of cheap beer and head out to find the scenes at night. We'd film everything too. This was a couple of years before the Blair Witch Project, but the same kind of teenage thrill ran through us, chasing ghosts, pretending we weren't scared. Eventually, we ran out of murder sites to explore. North Dakota isn't exactly bustling with crime, so we got good at finding abandoned farmhouses instead. There's a kind of code to spotting them. Rut roads that vanish into trees, perfectly square groves planted to block the wind, or a lone, rusted mailbox post where there shouldn't be one. That's how we found the place. We were driving a dirt road late one night when we spotted a grove of trees that looked out of place, a sure sign. We turned through the field, bumping along until the headlights caught an old house sitting in the dark. Not ancient, but old enough. There were padlocks on the doors, but those came off easily enough. Teenage stupidity mixed with curiosity is a powerful thing. There were 6 of us, each with a flashlight. When we stepped into the kitchen, the beams lit up a scene that made us stop cold. The table was set perfectly, plates, glasses, silverware, and everything exactly where it should be, like dinner was about to be served. We'd been in dozens of abandoned houses before, and this was a first. Usually you'd find broken furniture, a mess of trash, maybe some old newspapers. But this place looked normal. The fridge was still stocked, though the contents had long since rotted into a foul sludge. The cupboards were full of canned food and dry goods. One of the guys found mail on the counter, early June, 1978. Another picked up a TV guide from the living room. The cover had UFOs on it, all bold fonts and bad art. Family photos still hung on the walls. Mom, Dad, a son and daughter, frozen forever in their 70s glory. The furniture was dusty but untouched. The closets were full of clothes. Everything about the place screamed home, yet it felt utterly dead. That was when it hit us. This wasn't a house people had moved out of. It was a house people had abandoned. Just locked the door one day and never came back. We split into pairs and went upstairs to explore. My partner and I took the first room, obviously a young boy's room. I can't describe much about it, because right as we stepped in, a scream tore through the hallway. It wasn't just a startled yell, it was full-on terror. We bolted back out, flashlights whipping through the dark, shouting over each other. The 2 who screamed were pale and shaking. All they could say at first was, "You have to go in there." So we did. The room opened up to the left, and right in the center of it, on the bed, was the reason for that scream. propped up on pillows covered neatly by a blanket pulled to the waist, arms folded on top and head turned just slightly toward the door, was a life-sized porcelain doll. Its skin was bone white, its hair jet black, and those glass eyes caught the flashlights and seemed to look right at us. If the head had been facing straight ahead, maybe it wouldn't have been so bad. But someone had turned that head. It was waiting for us. For 20 years. We didn't stay to ask questions, we ran. Down the stairs, out the door, into the car. The ride back was dead silent until someone muttered, "Who the hell sets that up?" And that's when it really hit me. Whoever left that house hadn't taken their food, their clothes, or their photos. But they'd taken the time, before walking away forever, to place that doll in the bed, facing the door, like it was expecting visitors. We tried to look into the family afterward. Nothing came up. No car crash, no murder, no obituary. The county had eventually repossessed the land for unpaid taxes, which explained the padlocks, but that was it. No records, no closure, just a perfect little time capsule, rotting in the middle of nowhere, and that goddamn doll waiting in the dark. A few years back, I rented an apartment from a friend of mine. He had recently bought the place and had it completely renovated. After putting it up for sale, he couldn't find a buyer, so I offered to rent it in the meantime. Not long after moving in, I realized something was off about the woman next door. She looked about 45 but could have easily passed for 60. Every night she stayed up until dawn, listening to Christian radio shows and talking loudly to someone who wasn't there. Eventually, I couldn't sleep through it anymore. One night I walked over and knocked on her door, asking her politely to keep it down. She opened the door just enough for me to catch a glimpse inside. Her walls were covered in hand-painted crosses of all colors, with words like Jesus and angels scrawled everywhere. The windows had been painted black, blocking out any light. The air was thick and damp, the carpet stained yellow with age. There was dog shit on the floor, cockroaches crawling around, but no dog. I repeated my request. She just stared at me for a few seconds, then closed the door. A moment later, the radio got even louder. The next night, my girlfriend stayed over. Sometime in the middle of the night, I woke up and saw the shadow of someone standing beside the bed, watching us sleep. Half awake, I figured I was just imagining things, my mind playing tricks in the dark. Then the shadow spoke. It was my neighbor. She was holding something in her hand. She had broken in. God knows how long she had been standing there. "You should lock your door at night," she said, and calmly walked out. The next morning, I heard strange noises below my bedroom window. I looked outside. She was down there, muttering to herself in tongues. In her hand was a plastic bag. Inside was her dead dog, rotting in the summer heat. The smell was unmistakable. At that point, I was terrified. She was clearly out of her mind. I went upstairs and knocked on another neighbor's door, desperate to know what was going on. The guy looked as shaken as I felt. He told me she'd broken into his apartment. One evening, too, while he was watching TV with his kids, he'd gone to the kitchen to grab a snack and came back to find her standing behind the couch staring at him, holding a power drill. Now I knew what she had been holding in my bedroom. That was it for me. I called the cops. They knew exactly who I was talking about. Apparently, she was a violent schizophrenic who had stopped taking her meds, but because she owned her apartment, they couldn't enter without her consent. The only option was to pick her up when she stepped outside. So I waited. 2 sleepless nights just watching and listening. Finally, around 2 a.m., I heard her leave to go across the street to the 7-Eleven. I called the cops. Within 2 minutes, 3 patrol cars and a special unit van pulled up. They grabbed her, restrained her, and took her away to some institution. And just like that, she was gone.